Welcome to Seed to Success, the podcast where we deep dive into the strategies, stories, and smart decisions that help VAs and OBMs grow and thrive. I'm your host, Adrienne Donnelly, and whether you're just starting out or looking for ways to take your business to the next level, you are in the right place. This episode is proudly sponsored by Ready to Boss Legal. Their online legal templates focus on the ins and outs of protecting your business legally without fuss or large fees, leaving you to focus on what you do best, being the boss and building the business of your dreams. As a listener of the podcast, you will receive 10% off any templates through Ready to Boss Legal. Just use SEED10 upon checkout. That's SEED10 for a 10% discount. Now let's get into today's conversation. Hello and welcome back to the pod. We have had a technically challenging first few weeks of this year. Our podcast microphone decided it was going to retire, which we weren't aware of, but we are back and I'm super excited to be kicking things back off with Hannah, who is one of our Inner Circle members. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you so much for having me.
We were both just saying, we're a little bit nervous. So don't worry, I get nervous as well recording, but I'm really excited to spend some time with you. And I know our listeners and our viewers will too. I've gotten to know you a little bit over the last few months since you've joined the Inner Circle. But yeah, I'm really excited to learn more about you today. So I want to jump straight in and get you to tell us about your business, how you got started, what your background was before you started Virtually Hannah.
Okay, so I started Virtually Hannah in November 2024. I'm offering business support and social media management. Before I stepped in with Virtually Hannah, I was actually in the legal field. So legal secretary, paralegal, the wizard of the legal realm, if you will, as most support staff are. But yes, so that's a bit of background before Virtually Hannah.
Yeah. And so what prompted that transition? Like, how did you find out about the virtual industry and what made you want to make that change?
So I love legal. I really do. I love legal and I love the people behind it. The people are involved. I did wills and estates. I did estate administration, all of the things. But it just wasn't fulfilling me. And so I actually had a conversation. So I left there. I decided, you know what, I'm going to do something different. Decided to study accounting and bookkeeping. I don't know what's wrong with
Equally
me,
as fulfilling.
Yeah. But I just thought I'll try something different, just completely from letters to numbers. So it's actually my old boss who gave me a call and she was in a bit of a flap and she just said, I need some help. Would you think about contracting to me like a freelancer? And yeah, so it was actually my old boss who set me on this path of actually making me think, oh, I could do this for myself because I've been surrounded by business. My husband's owned businesses. I've been in and out of family businesses, being a helping hand, but I never thought, not for me, not for myself. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting that, as we said before, so many people come to work with people that they've worked with in a previous case. With yourself, what ended up happening with that previous boss that reached out to you and said, hey, is there a freelance opportunity? Because I know my old boss from my old corporate PA, but he'll call me like once a year and be like, hey, we're moving house. Can you just help us relocate? Or, hey, I'm doing this. Can you just plug in and help me with this? And that's 10 years ago.
The opportunity with my old boss, we didn't end up collaborating again or working with each other again. But definitely she planted the seed and so that's what kind of led me down the path that I've been able to go down.
Yeah. And after that, you started working. How was the path after that? Was there a moment where you thought, oh, hang on, this could actually be like a full-time thing for me, not just something on the side while I'm still working out what I want to do for my job?
It was that kind of kick-started that because legal is very legal. So I did niche into legal at the very beginning because that's what I knew.
Mm.
But then I just thought, I had this kind of creative side of me, which I've used in other people's businesses. And it just snowballed from there. I just thought, oh, okay, I've got some confidence. You start sending through like proposals and you start getting yourself set up, and then it snowballs in a good way. So yeah, it just pushed me into different avenues, which is cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. You mentioned that you've been surrounded by other businesses, your husband, family, that sort of thing. Has there anything that's been surprising for you when it's been your business versus something where you thought, oh, I never realized this was an aspect of running your own business because you've just been popping in and out of other people's businesses?
I think that I'd always done sort of the foundational things with business. It was more the mindset. Taking yourself out of that employee mindset and actually going, okay, I'm a business owner with overheads and skills, and hang on a sec, what do you mean? So definitely mindset was the biggest. And I honestly think it's just going to be this ever evolving thing.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm 10 years this year having my own VA OBM business, and mindset is still like one of the biggest things that is a challenge to stay on top of, and you think you've got it and you're in a good place, and then a conversation happens or a client changes or something like that, and you're like, oh no, I still feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. So yeah, you're right, it is that shift. You mentioned there that kind of employee mindset to business owner mindset. Are there any sort of things that pop out to you or that are really like key to that mindset, or going into your day every day thinking I'm a business owner versus an employee, or things that you see that you need to coach your clients on in terms of transitioning them out of looking at you as an employee?
So I think one for myself, because at the end of the day, if I am not thinking of myself as a business owner, then if I don't have the confidence in myself, then clients are not going to have that confidence in me, right? So I love time blocking. I have to manage my time. And whether that is I schedule every little thing in, but I make sure that I say having a CEO hour or a CEO day or however you can do it, is that you do have to take that time to work on your business, to actually have that business owner mindset. And so I think that's one thing that I take with my clients, is that for them to also feel for themselves in their own businesses, time blocking is going to be their biggest tool.
Yeah. You mentioned CEO time, CEO hour. For someone who's listening that is like, what does she mean by CEO time? Do you want to say a bit more about, for you, what CEO time is and what you do during that CEO time that you spend?
So it's always the things that you just don't have the time to do. You're doing it for others, and that is with service-based business. You're supporting other people's businesses. So what you're supporting them in, you also need to be doing for yourself. So saying you're a CEO, saying you're a founder, saying you're however you want to frame it, you need to carve out that time for your own content. I did a bit of a business segment, unhinged business segment at the end of last year, about checking on your subscriptions, like where the money's leaking, where the time's leaking. So you do that for others, you have to do that for yourself as well.
Yeah, it's super important. And it's something I think many of us are guilty of putting to the bottom of the pile, because often we're so busy running and supporting other people to run their business and allowing them, freeing them up of all that stuff so they can be the best business owner they can be. It's like the mechanic with the crappy car, right? It's like we look after our own stuff last. So some of those things, you're right, around CEO time. And I think one thing I remember a previous client of mine saying to me is like, they had a whole bunch of clients, and each week we would get together and run through all the things that the client needed, like their clients needed. So like a client whip, basically. They were a marketing team. And the best thing we ever did was added their business to the list of clients, and we started treating their business like it was one of their clients, which meant for them in marketing, it was like, where are we at with content? Where are we at with our blogs? Where are we at EDMs? Is our website working? So it's almost like treating your own business as a client. I think that's also super helpful, because as business owners, it's difficult sometimes to separate ourselves from the business and they not be one and the same. So I think by treating it like it's a client, it's almost a little bit of separation. So today I'm going to work on Virtually Hannah. I'm going to make sure the form on my website's working. I'm going to make sure all the links on my Instagram bio is working. I'm going to check where I'm at with subscriptions. I'm going to make sure all my clients' rates have been reviewed, like all of those things to look after our own businesses.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree. Treating yourself as your own client. That's
We just can't send an invoice for it.
No.
maybe one day. Is there anything, obviously you started in November 2024, we are now early 2026. Looking back, is there anything you would have done differently when you were starting?
Well, I would definitely have joined the inner circle. That would be just this
is not a paid partnership.
No, honestly, that's completely that's me. I honestly would have, because you were around, but that would have been one thing that I would have done from the beginning, just because the support in the inner circle is just incredible, and recommendations and advice and like the brainstorming sessions and everything that's involved in the inner circle is the Facebook group is gold itself. But that definitely would have done that. And also, this is probably a bit of a other side, is I probably would have, there's so much noise, right? There's so much noise when it comes to starting a business, and I would just try and quieten that. You don't have to have all of the things sorted, or the business is just completely, it evolves as you evolve. And I think that's the thing. I probably would go back to 2024 Virtually Hannah and just breathe and calm your farm a little bit.
And when you say having all those things for the setup, were there things that you felt like, oh, everyone says you've got to have this, so I've got to do it, like those sorts of things?
Well, I think it was more the fact, and I mean, there are things that I will say non-negotiable, is getting yourself set up, your public liability, your cyber insurance, like that is like non-negotiables.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I am rebranding this year. And so I did my own colors. I started myself out as myself, and it's okay. Like, you don't have to have it all sorted. Sometimes it's just better to get the forward momentum, get some movement, and then everything happens along the way. If you can have it all sorted, amazing. But if not, it's not going to be the end of the world.
Yeah, it's a really good point. I think, as you said, there are some things that are just like non-negotiables: insurance, good financial advice, ABNs, obviously those foundational things that you can't afford to be in business without. You can't legally be in business without some of them. And in terms of insurance, I once heard someone say, and I get it, insurance is expensive. It is. I remember someone once said, if you can't afford insurance, you can't afford to be in business. And like, it always just sticks in my head now, where it's like, you have to have it. You cannot expose yourself in that way. But I think you're right around like, you know, if this podcast has taught me anything, is like there is no VA or OBM journey that is the same. I've chatted with people, and all the hundreds of VAs I've met over the last decade, like some people have come out of big redundancies where they've got money where they can like pay for a website, pay for branding, pay for all those things up front. And then other people who are like, I knocked something up in Canva, I just had to get going. That was good enough. It got me going. Now I've got some clients I can invest in, similar to you. Like, I can spend some money engaging someone to do my brand, to put the effort into a website, because in those first few years, your business changes so much. Even for people, I think, that have had a super clear idea on what they were going, you were like, legal, that's my thing, that's what I know. And now you're leaning into this beautiful creative part of yourself, which is, that's the perks of running your own business, right? You can choose, but it all evolves so much. There's almost like a bit of method to the madness of not feeling like I've got to have all the things ready, like the branding and the expensive logos and the expensive websites and all that, because it changes, especially in those first few years. I think it changes so much.
And I think that's the thing. I think I've said public liability before. Professional indemnity. That's in my mind.
Talk to your insurance broker.
Talk to your insurance broker when I'm giving advice. But just making sure those things are covered, but the rest will come if that's,
Yeah. And also, the reality is not everyone stays in business for that long. So it's a lot of money to invest to maybe work out, this isn't for you. I know people that have started their VA business and then the dream employment opportunity has come up, like too good to be true, and they've walked away from their business for a really beautiful reason because something amazing has come up. I think it's smart just to go, what do I really need to do? What's going to give me the momentum to get that snowball going? And I'll come back and tweak and fix the rest as you go. We mentioned before that really commonly asked question that we get all the time about clients. Where are you finding you're getting the most traction with clients? Is there places that you've like spent time thinking clients would find you there, but it hasn't been as fruitful for you? How are your clients finding you?
So definitely Instagram. That's where I hang out.
Yeah.
So Instagram has definitely been quite good to find clients. And there's also in-person networking, honestly. I just cannot fault in-person, actually putting a face to a name, because I think we are in a virtual world and it can be a little bit scary for some business owners. So having that balance between online and in-person, I think is the way to go.
Yeah. You're up in Queensland. Are there certain networking events or in-person communities that you're really loving and that you found are like your people?
Yeah, so I go to the Common Grounds in Albany Creek. I mean, they've got them in New Farm and they're all kind of spattered around, but Common Grounds is really lovely. I've met some amazing women, but then also just going to some networking. I went to a conference. So conferences as well, that it's balancing that professional development as well as that exposure, because my biggest thing with networking is it's not gone are the days where you walk around and you just, throwing cards like left, right, and center and, all the people.
I refer to it as business card frisbee.
Oh my goodness. Yes, exactly. That is not, nobody is catching that frisbee, I'm telling you. And I think gone are those days. It's all about making connections, making business friendships, really. I've got some incredible clients and we just gel, we just vibe. And I think that's only something that you can get it over. But I haven't met you in person, but
I know,
we
one
still
day.
gel. Yeah. But it's just a different element.
Yeah. And I think if you're in parts of Australia where you can access in-person networking, and also if it is something that's comfortable for you, it is. We put up a post recently in the free Facebook group about like in-person networking and a kind of love it or hate it question. And one of the really common themes was people were like, I don't always feel up for it, but I never regret going. I always feel better after I have. And I was one of the people going, I don't always feel up for it. And I'm the president of a local networking community. And I'm like, sometimes I don't even feel up for it, but you don't come away feeling worse. You normally have a really beautiful conversation about any kind of topic, and you definitely feel like, oh, I'm glad I actually dragged myself out of bed, went out on a cold wintry night and invested that time.
Yeah. And I feel I have been to some bad ones. There are bad ones out there, I will just say that. But I think the way that you phrased it, that you have to kiss a lot of
Kiss a lot of frogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the same with networking. You've got to find your people.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think, and we talk about this a lot with Seed, if people are exploring like doing VA training or VA communities, I'm like, Seed might be for you. There's loads of incredible VA training and VA communities within Australia. My biggest thing is as long as everyone finds their people and no one is doing it alone and is super isolated, whether it's Seed or whether it's someone else that's in our kind of arena, fine, as long as you just find your people. It's just about investing that time to decide like, where are my people hanging out, both online and offline. Yeah. Speaking of online, when I first came across you and we met digitally, you were doing the 75 hard challenge, which was, do you want to tell people about it? Because I want to ask you a little bit about it.
So I can't take credit for it. It wasn't my idea. I actually follow a petite programming. She builds websites and she started it. And I had gone on holiday and come back and I just thought, you know what, I think I'm going to start it. I think it was 2 days after I got back from holiday, because I just thought I'll just throw myself into it. And it's almost like it's the 75 hard kind of weight loss and everything like that, but it's for your business. So you have to do 6 things each day. So there was like a revenue task, a visibility task, getting out. That actually there's a physical element to it as well, like going out for a walk or whatever it was. There was a mindset task. It was just about, and to be fair, I don't think I would make it through the 75 for the other one.
For the fitness one.
For the fitness one, because I don't stick at things when it comes to myself. So I thought, I'm going to do this. I'm going to test myself. And I made it very visible because I was like, now I've got people following me along now, so I have to stick to it. And it was great because so 75 days. And I'll be honest, at the end, I was lagging a little bit, a couple of days where I was doing it, but I wasn't videoing it. The videoing gets a little bit off kilter, but I didn't stop doing the tasks. I didn't stop doing the business and the personal balance, which was really good.
Yeah. So when we met, you were like maybe 20 days in when I first came across you on Instagram and we started following each other. So the part that I saw from an outside point of view was like every day you had to post on your stories or on your grid, right? Like you basically had to show up online. And I was watching along just being like, this girl, I'm like, I could never do this. What did you learn about yourself in terms of showing up, if you're comfortable to share, like during that challenge, in terms of showing up? And obviously as women, we're also navigating like hormones and cycles and things like that. Did you notice things about yourself showing up every week, every day, over 75 days?
I think it was the fact that I had to hold myself accountable. So even if, I had started in stories and everything like that. And then I went, you know what, I'm going to make it into reels because reels are out there. And there's also that following. And I did get a following from people that were like, oh, we can't wait to see what you're doing tomorrow or whatever. On the days that I couldn't do a reel, I would do a story. But it was the accountability. It was getting to the end of the day going, I haven't got back to that lead, or I haven't done that LinkedIn post, or I haven't done this. Okay, take 5 minutes, get it done. And it's just being accountable for yourself and your business. And I think that's the thing is it was good because it had, you were talking about, sometimes we have to separate ourselves from our business. In that challenge, you're like this, you're moving with, so but it's great. I've pulled things from it that I've taken now, like every day I listen to a podcast that's something business, and I also get out for a walk every day. So it's carrying those things, one's for business mindset because that's where I struggle, and then also something physical because I'm at my desk all the time.
Yeah. And it's like we talked about in the goal setting workshops around like when we're looking at the different categories for goals, how important those wellbeing and health goals are. And our masterclass in February in the Seed Inner Circle is exactly around this. It's like, what happens to you if you're sick or something unexpected happens to you and you can't work in your business? Because it's like it is solely reliant on us. Not all of us have businesses that are purely driven by passive income streams. Most of it is like we are selling our time as our service. And I think that challenge and that person that ran the challenge and like having a really well balanced a list that you had to pick from is so smart, because that well-being side of things is just so important. And it's so nice to see that you've carried that on. I think the other thing that you have carried on from that is like your visibility. You're so great at showing up on your stories and jumping on and just like chatting and letting people know what you're up to and asking interesting questions. I think like I look at you as someone who's working on that. I look at you as someone who's kind of setting a benchmark of like where I would like to be in terms of the comfortability in which you are able to show up, or how it looks you are comfortable from the outside.
Yeah. Thank you. I feel like I actually went to a networking something last year. I can't actually remember what it was, but the best thing I got it from was you can't sell a secret. And that's something that I always have in my mind is if I don't show people what I do, then how are they going to know what I do?
that drives you. Yeah. And it can be hard, especially when we're in a service-based business. If we had a product, we could be like, hey, I'm in the packing room and here's all the products that we have. But sometimes like the service is like us hunched over, maybe with really bad posture at our desk every
like
day.
Prawn,
like,
yeah,
like a prawn, formatting with like a coffee-fueled prawn, like formatting documents and responding to client emails and booking appointments and scheduling content. Like, it's not very sexy in terms of being able to sell that service. But what I think is what people will resonate with is like you jumping on the stories and being like, this is what I'm up to. And this is like an interesting podcast I listen to. And some of those other things you stand for.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you work a lot with service-based businesses, right?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that the majority of your client base?
That is all of my client base. Yeah. I guess I'm not niched, but I enjoy working with service-based businesses.
Yeah. Do you find from a support point of view of what they're looking for, it's quite similar across the board? I'm assuming they're in different industries, but service-based, not product-based businesses. When they're looking for support, have you found that like their pain points are all quite similar? There's common sort of through lines with what they're looking for when they're putting their hand up to be like, I need help?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that it really depends as well on the size of their business. So I like to collaborate with small businesses because they just sometimes just need hands, and they might not need all of this. They might need, you said before, like helping them set up their ABM and helping them just do the foundational things. And then as they move along, they might catch up with you in 6 months. I've got a client at the moment that 6 months ago, she wasn't ready, and now we're working together because she is ready. And so I think they're probably the common thread is time. They're really time poor. They're juggling. They've got kids. They're running a business from home, or they've got a team. And I really like to be a bit of a second brain, really.
That's a really great way to put it. A second brain.
Yeah.
Like,
We'd all love that.
New business name. Yeah, when can I get myself one of those? We talk a lot in this broader seed community, but specifically the inner circle, about the definition of success and why it should be, and I use the word should, and I'm not a big believer in shoulds. You should niche, you should charge this, you should only have packages, etc. I'm not a big fan, but I do believe that everyone's definition of success should be different. What does success look like by your definition, and has that changed over the past 14 months since you've started the business?
Yes, and this might be a weird answer, but when I was talking before about there being a lot of noise, when I first started, I had business coaches and consultants and all of these 3Ks a month, 5Ks a month, 10Ks a month. And I was just like, oh, okay, I was putting because you've invested in yourself, right? You've invested in your business. You're like, okay, oh my goodness, I have to make this work.
I've got to make this work. Yep.
Yeah. And so I was very caught up in those first few months and deflated really, because I had one client for a little bit and I just thought, oh, well, I thought I'm on Instagram, I should be getting more of it. It doesn't work really like that. I mean, from my experience. And yeah, from my experience, it's from that frame to switching to success for me now is that I work with people who feel comfortable with me because I am their second brain. So they trust me and they speak nicely about me in circles. And that's how I get referrals, because of how people leave me feeling good about our collaboration. So that's, for me, is that success.
Yeah. I think a lot of people listening that will really resonate with them. There is a lot of noise in our space about what success looks like, and people on Instagram telling us what that looks like. And sometimes I think it's probably more just a well-intended projection of their own definition of success and sharing that with others. But I think it's so important to work out what success looks like for you. And we talked at the start of the year about how that is allowed to change. It's allowed to evolve because you are constantly evolving as a business owner. But I think that's such a powerful realization around that person's definition of success. I've automatically applied it to myself, and it's actually not really what I want and what I want to define success for myself.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing, is that everybody's different. And I think that's what makes the world go around.
Yeah, absolutely. And that means, and the great thing about that is that the business owners that are out there that are looking for support in their business, they will find the right person, because there will be someone, like your ideal client may not be mine and vice versa, but there's so many incredible business owners in our industry that every other business owner out there who's looking for a VA or an OBM or a social media manager or someone to come and support their business, they will find the right person.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
If there's someone that's listening that's thinking like 2026, this is the year that I'm going to start my VA or my OBM business, is there any like little tidbit or a little bit of advice that you would give them if they're thinking like, this is a bit scary, it's a bit of a risk, can I make this thing work? Is there anything that you would tell them?
First, I'm not going to say it's not scary, because it is scary when you...
It is.
It is scary when you go, okay, I'm going to trust in myself. But just breathe and be patient. Be patient, because it does pay off. As long as you're doing all the things that feel right to you, it'll pay off in the end.
Yeah. I think patience is a big one. It's not an overnight thing. You're not going to go from 0 to 100. It does take time. It takes time to set your business up. It takes time to get the foundations. It takes time to find clients. It takes time to work out what kind of people that you work with. I think patience is a really great word for it.
And I think that's the thing too, is that a lot of the time, this is something that's being built on the side of a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, in comparison, you can't, comparison is the thief of joy. So if you are comparing your journey with someone who can put everything in and within 3 months they're up and running and they've got their first or second clients, and you're 6 months in and you're working on it on the side, it's not going to be the same. So I think, breathe and patience is the biggest thing I can say.
Yeah. And I think that's why it is so important for us to continue to share the different variations of the VA or OBM journey with our listeners and our viewers, because it just, episode after episode, it demonstrates that there is no two people that their path has gone the same, their backgrounds have gone the same, how their clients have found them, what that time frame was, how they worked it all out is the same. And I think that's, really important, just to keep hitting home that you can take inspiration or motivation from someone else's story, but not comparing it to your own. It's going to lead down not a great place.
No. Agreed.
Yeah. Hannah, if people are thinking they are keen to work with you, or other VAs or OBMs that want to learn more about you, collaborate with you, follow along, where is the best place for people to connect with you?
Like I said, I do live on Instagram, so you can find me on Instagram for sure. You can find me under Virtually Hannah, or even if you search Hannah Caruso, which is my first and last name, and you can find me on LinkedIn and Facebook. My website, I will get to that. And that is under construction.
The mechanic.
Yes.
Again. You mentioned a rebrand before.
Yes, collaborating with one of the other Inner Circle members, Sharon, and so she's helping me, and so that's going to be coming all together in, it's the 27th of January, so next month sometime, and just rebranding to something that feels a little bit more like me as I've evolved over the last, 14 months.
I'm excited to see the brand. Hannah, thank you so much for coming on, for sharing all your learnings and a lot of wisdom that you have gathered over the last 14 months. It's been really lovely to get to know more about you, and really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Seed to Success. Make sure you are subscribing so you never miss an episode. If you know a VA or OBM who might benefit from this conversation, feel free to share it with them. And a big thank you to our episode sponsor, Ready to Boss Legal. Make sure you check out the episode description for a special discount on all their legal templates. Let's chat again soon.